Let's do something before we start to the React. Okay. So today is 9th December 2020. Let's start with the objects, and the topic in objects which we'll take is comparing objects. So this is the topic for today, and let's work on this one. So when you compare two objects, you will get true only if you compare two references to the same object. I'll give you example of what exactly I mean by two references to the same object. But if I compare two objects with similar key value pair and similar methods and other properties, if you compare this will return false. So for example, if I create a variable, create object A with value of x of 1 and then create another object with value of x equal to 1, that is the same key value pair, and if I compare A with B, it will result me false. So let's try to do this. If I take A and if I take the B, both have same key value pair, and if I compare both, it will give me false, because they are created with the same key value pair, but they are created separately. They don't reference to one single object, and that's the reason they are not equal. So now if I create another one, C, that is equal to A, and then if I compare C to A, it will return me true. So if I say C equal to A, it will return true, because both are created with the same reference, that is this one, A. Since I copied A to C, now both are referencing to the same object, and so it is true. But whereas B is, though it's similar in the key value pair, but it's not referencing to the same object, so it is false. So this is something called as comparing the objects. So objects can be compared if they are of the same reference. You can write a function to go through each key value pair and then compare with other object and return true or false. That will be your custom function, and that you can make A equal to B. So if you want to make A equal to B, then create a custom function where it will check all the key value pair of A and compare with the B. And that way you can compare the two objects in custom way. But by default, A is not equal to B, though they have the same value. But since C is created from the A, so here A is not equal to B and C is equal to A. Because C is created from the A, both reference to the same object, and that's the reason C is equal to A. So this is about the compare object. Let's do one more problem also before we jump to the React part. The problem is big enough, so I won't be able to complete whole problem in one day. But let's start something. So before going to a real problem, I just want to clear the basics for this problem. So let's say, if I have A equal to object, now if I say A of 1, okay. So let's say if I have a object and I have A of 1, which is equal to, for example, 2, okay, and if I have A of 2, which is equal to 1, let's see the A. So 1 is having the value of 2 and 2 is having the value of 1. So if I want to, so that means this A of 1 equal to 2 and A of 2 equal to 1. Okay, so this just remember this point, and when okay, let me start the problem and then I'll explain directly the problem here. It's not clear what I want to say. So the problem generally in interview, they get like this. There is an array. There is array and it has the value of, for example, 2, 7, 11 and 15, for example. This is the array given and there is a number. For example, number is NUM and number is, for example, 9. Now the problem goes here like this. I have to go through each of this number, for example 2, 7, 11, 15, and then I have to see what two numbers, that is this 2 for example, is equal to this number. So if I go to 2 and 7, it is 9. So I can return the index of 0 and the index of 7, because 2 and 7 is equal to 9. So that is the problem. Let's do it in another way. Let's say if I have array equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and the number given is, for example, 9. So here I will go through each number. Let's say I go to 2 and then I say 2 plus 3 is 5. Is it equal to 9? No. That means these 2 is not the right answer. So I go again. 2 plus 4, is it equal to 9? No. Then I'll go again. 2 plus 5, Is it equal to 9? The answer is no. Then I'll move to the second number, 3. I'll check 3 plus 4. Is it equal to 9? No. So I'll move again. 3 plus 5. Is it equal to 9? No. So then I'll go to the 4. I'll check 4 plus 5. Is it equal to 9? Yes. So I'll return key of this and key of this one. Okay. So that is the purpose of this problem. So one way is like this. I can do like this. That is not the right way, but that is the easiest thinking which I will do. I will loop through first time. So for example, I'll say I equal to 0. So I'll loop through for I equal to 0, I less than, one second, I less than, how many times we have to go to? 1, 2, 3, 4. I less than 4, then I plus plus. So I'll take the first for loop and go through 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'll take second for loop, j equal to, for example, even if I go again, repeat the same kind of thing, j is less than 4, j plus plus. And I'll check if I is equal to j, I don't want to do anything. I'll continue because both should be different. So if both are same, I'll continue. Otherwise, I will check. So I'll check if array of I is equal to array of j, so I'll check if array of I, that is array of 0, is equal to array of j, that is this one. If they are equal, then I'll return I and j. So I'll return an array with the key of, that is I and j. So I can go through, first time I go through I, that is 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'll go again for the j. I'll go 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if both numbers are same, I'll return the key of both the number, that is 0 and 1, or 2 and 3. That is, I will return this one. Okay, so this is j. Sorry. So this is the one type of the problem that is the easiest you can think of, that I can go through one time and then I'll go to the second time using the j and compare each number with another number and return if both are same. So this is the one simplest way, but this is not what the examiner wants or the interviewer wants. So for the interviewer, it's little different. They expect something answer to be different. So I want you to work on this problem today. We'll see tomorrow the solution, the right solution for this one. I'll write down the problem. This problem is called two-sum method, and this is the most common problem in interview. And I'll write down the problem, and then you have to work on it using the right way. So the one way which I showed you here is not the right way. This is the way. Just I showed you how the things are working. But this is the not way you should do the problem. Though this is the right way, in reality also you can do that if no one is asking you. But if you do 2-time for loop, this increases the complexity of the problem. And in interview, they don't want to increase the complexity. They want to reduce the complexity. So if you go with this one, the complexity of this problem is n square. And that is something not acceptable. Okay, so we will see the complexity in future, what exactly is the complexity. But right now, you just remember that it loops 2 times. That is, so it is not good. Let me write on the problem and then you can work on it. It's saying given an array of integers, return indices of the two numbers such that they add up to a specific target. You may assume that each input would have exactly one solution. So you have to remember that there is only one solution to this problem. There will not be two same number or answers. For example, given, and the number given is 2, 7, 11 and 15, and target is 9. So because number of 0, let's say this, given this number, I'll put a variable numbers, and the numbers of 0, because numbers of 0 plus numbers of 1. So this numbers of 0, that is 2, and numbers of 1, that is 7. This 2 is equal to 9. So you should return 0 and 1. So you're returning 0 and 1. Okay, so this is something you have to do. So this is the array and this is the target. Since the 0 and 1 is equal to the target, so we will return 0 and 1. So if the target was, for example 18, so let's say target was 18, then you would have returned 1 and 2. Okay, so if the target was, for example 26, you would have returned 2 and 3. So depending on the target, you should return the index of the number. That is the problem is. And this is asked in the following companies. So these companies generally ask this question: LinkedIn, Uber, Airbnb, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, Yahoo, Dropbox, Bloomberg, Yelp, and Adobe. So these companies generally ask this question. So just there may be a lot more, but these are the famous top companies which ask this question. So try to solve this problem by not doing 2 times. Here we are doing for loop 2 times, and that becomes the complexity of n squared, because we run 1 time n whole n time, and then again we run whole thing n times, so the complexity is n square. Try to reduce the complexity, and there should not be 2 for loops. Maybe 1 while loop or 1 loop kind of thing is fine, but don't make 2 loops. Okay, so this is the problem for today. You can think, though I have written a sample 2-level problem, but this is not the right solution. We have to work on the right solution. Okay, so let's move now. Let's move to our React problem. see if my terminal is working. Okay, parse server is running. It is not running. CD React, CD client, npm start. Okay, let it start. We'll go to the home screen. So we build the event management and we added the add page, and now we are on the home page where we are trying to fix the display of this home page. That is the task which we are currently doing. And we added a couple of search one like location and keyword. And next one will be the categories also, which we will add today. Let's see how things work. 1 second. I'm waiting for the server to start. Okay, I'm still waiting for this server to start. Okay, so let me create 3 event, and then so now right now next and previous we have pagination also, we have display also. Let's change the navigation bar first, and then we will work on this part. Let me go to the navigation and change that one. So in the project, I will remove that reference because that's not the right thing. So here I will say my events, that it's an event manager, event is there. And I'll remove all the H reference. This is my home page, and this is something, the post page or post. I will post, new post will be created based on this one. So I only need 2 links for now. So how to make this workable? I will create one function called as handle redirection. I could have used the AH reference or H reference tag, which you already saw here, but that will load the page again. I don't want the I don't want the page to load it again. So there may be different ways. One of the way is I create this function, and based on the I'll call this function to whenever I click the home or post or anything, and this one will have some key. And let me do the console.log of key. Okay, so this is the key, and on each one I will give the event key. I will give the event key equal to wherever I want to send this user to. So for this home page, I want user to go to /page, and for the post, I will say I want the user to go to the add page. So I give the key of add. And here in the navigation part, I will say on select equal to, I will call my function, that is this handle redirection. So whenever we change this or click this one, handle redirection is called, and we can call that one the key with key. Let's take this one now. So when I click home, you will see I'm only getting key. I should get the value, right? Let's see. Okay, I should say key in variable way. Sorry about that. When I click home, I'm getting slash. When I click post, I'm getting /add. So I'm getting the correct key. Now I will add our code. Let's check the props also. What are the props coming? So when I click post, I'm getting this props. And the props, we have the history. And in the history, we have the push. So I will be using this function to send user to the add page or the home page. So I can say here props.history.push, and I'll put the key. This key is going here, and whatever URL I'll mention here will be passed here in the key, and it will go to that page. So if I click post, I am redirecting to the add page. If I click home, I am going to the home page. Add page or home page. I'm getting error. Okay, so we are getting the error on the location map. I'm on the post page. When I go to the home page, okay, now I'm not getting. Okay, well, if we get that error again, I'll see how to fix that one. We'll fix that one also. Okay, now I'm not getting. Okay, so this is something we are getting. We are getting the links workable. Okay, so I can go to any link in this top. Now what I'll do, I'll create 3 or 4 events, and that event, some events will be in the past, and some event will be currently working, and some will be in the future. So let me delete all this old, and I'll create new one. Okay, let's delete both. So right now I don't have any event. So I should also show the message that no event is there or no record found. But I'll do that later. Let's create 3 or 4 events. So first event will be, I'll say currently, or maybe I can say test 1. This is currently running because it already started in the past and it is in the current running phase. So venue detail will be, I can say San Francisco, and I'll choose some categories. Let's start on the 1st December and end on 31st December. So this event is already started on the 1st December and currently we are on the 9th December. So this is the currently running event. I'll put the contact details. For example, I'll put some phone number and text to search for test 1. So one of the event is created here. Okay, so I created the one of the one event. Let's create another one. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so let's create another event, test 2, and test, I'll put something. So this is the, let's say, I'll say past event, which is already completed, and this I will say was in I can say this in the San Bruno. I'll put some categories. So this is the past event which was already finished. So maybe it was in November, from November 1 to November 30. So this is the past event. I can put some phone number and tag to search. So this is the past event and this is the currently running. Let's add third one, which will be in the future one. And maybe I'll put this in Sunnyvale. And since this is in the future, I will start in January and end 31st January. And contact details will be some kind of phone number and test 3. Okay, so I created the three events. And right now I'm showing all the three irrespective of the date. Okay, so today I'll work on this part, only on this part. That is, I can show all, or I can show the current running, or I can show future, or I can show the running and the future together. So this is the task for today. We have to show only the one which I want to see. Okay. So for that, I'll create a select box here, and to create the select box, I have to call the select box. So let me go to the home page. So let's call the select box, and which project we have used the select box. Let's check that one. This one is the select box. So I will copy this single select in my home page, and I'll see how I'm using the select box. So select box is used like this one. So they need the name and value. So similarly, I'll do it here. And for the name and the value, I have this function. Okay, so before the location even, I will create a select box. And for the change, I will use handle change with name, because you will see I need the similar function with the name and value. And this is the function with the name and the value. And that's the reason I use this change with name. Let's change these options. Let me put the options here. So what are the options here? Let's put it. So I will put the value of 1, or the value of 2, or value of 3, or value of 4. So if I pass the value 1, that means I want current and future events. If I pass the value of 2, that means I want only the current running events. If I pass 3, I want only the future events, to display the future events. If I select 4, I want past completed events. Okay. So, and here in the title, I can say choose the criteria. And here, actually, I will not use that handle change with name, though here previously I'm using. Right now, let's only create an empty function. And I have to pass some value, initial value. So I'll say value equal to some variable, and variable will be criteria. So I'll create one variable called as criteria. I will pass it here. Let's create that variable. So here we have 2 already. I will create one more criteria. And initially I will give some default value for this criteria, and default value will be value equal to 1 and label equal to current and feature events, and it will be set criteria. So what I'm doing, I'm creating the criteria, default criteria that is initially 1 and the value is 1, and then I put the label here. So default will be the first one, that is the current and future events, and based on the different value I will be showing the different results to the user. And I'm putting the default, I'm putting the value as a criteria, which will be the initially will be the first one, and then based on whatever you will change, it will come that second one or third one or fourth one. So that is about the criteria. Let's check this one. Let's fix this handle change first and then we'll test it. So in the handle change, I will get some value, and I will, based on the value, I will set the criteria to value. So if I choose the second one, the value will be the second one. So this is what I will do now. So let me check now the criteria if I'm getting proper criteria or not. So I'll do the console.log of criteria. Okay, so now this is the select one. So by default, it should choose the criteria one, the default one. But right now it's not doing it. I will check that later. What is the problem with that? Let's first see. So if I choose the first one, it's saying the criteria are this one. It's saying second one. So I choose the second one, and then third one. So we have the third feature events. Okay, so this way I'm able to change the criteria. So this is the fourth one. So this is the, I'm changing the criteria. And if I refresh the page right now, though I given the first one, I'm not getting this here. That I will check tomorrow. I will not work on that part. Why I'm not getting the default value here? So I'm not getting the default one as the first one. That I'll check tomorrow. That's not the important part now. So we just want to show the event based on this criteria. If I choose current and future, I should see this future one and the running one. If I choose the current event, running event, I should see only this one. If I choose future event, I should see only this one. If I see past completed event, I should see only this one. So this is the task of today which we have to do. So we know when I change the criteria, I get the proper value and I get the proper label. So based on this criteria, I will display the result, whether I want to show the future one or today one or the past one. So let's do that now. Since I have this criteria, and based on the criteria, I want to change the query. So I will pass this criteria in this one, in this array. So next one will be the criteria. And based on this criteria, I will change the query. So let's change the query based on the criteria. So initially I will take the current date, d equal to new date, and I will also create another variable called as current date using the moment, and I'll pass d. So this d will be creating the date based on the JavaScript, and we will be creating our own custom date based on the moment the date manipulation one, and based on that one we'll create the current date. Let's see the console.log what is current date is, and let me see what is d is. Okay, I'm getting some error. Console is not a function. .log. Okay, so I created two date. Let's see how it looks, kind of thing. So if I see date, that is the normal date I get in this format, and the current date is a moment object with lot of manipulation. We can use that one. So I just use this moment to make my work easy, and I'll be using this moment part in the query. Okay, so we have this current date. Now here I'll write some if condition. So if criteria dot value equal to 1, that means here I have to show only the I have to show current and future, right? Current and future. One second, let me check. Okay, so if it is 1, I have to show current and future, and I'll check if criteria dot value is equal to 2, then I'll show only the future one. Let me check what I have. So if it is 2, I have to show the current running one. So current running events, and if I have criteria dot value equal to 3, then I have to show only the future one, and the last one is if criteria dot value is equal to 4, then I have to show only the past events. So if it is 1, I will write my query. I will change this query part as follows. I will say query dot greater than or equal to. So here I will check the event end date. So event end date should be greater than and equal to current date. Current date means today's date. Today's date is this one, current date. So I'll say current date dot to date. Okay, so if you want to see what exactly is this one, let's check this one. So what is coming in the code to date? Let's check that one. So this is we are getting. This is exactly what we are getting as a D, but let's use this moment part, because a lot of manipulation is done in the moment. And rather than using the normal JavaScript, I will prefer to go with the moment part, though you saw that it is same as the normal D, but I use the moment in my project, not for this one, for other purpose also. So uh, I'll do with this one right now, but you are free to experiment with the D also. Instead of passing this, you can try D also. But right now we'll do with the moment part, current date dot to date. So what I'm saying is the event date should be, end date should be greater than the current date, and if it is greater than the current date, then it means it is the current or future events, because in both the cases end date will be greater than the current date, and that's the reason I have put like this one. So let me check that one. So you will see now I'm only seeing the 2, 1, not the third one, because default is the first one, and we are able to see this one. If I choose the second one, it will show all three because we have not written the only the current one. So in the current and future, we are able to see the future one and the current one, because in both the cases end date is greater than the current date. So whenever end date is greater than the current date, I will show all those events. Next will be the two events. Here it will be the current running events. That means the start and end date both should be taken into consideration. So we'll do like this: query dot greater than or equal to. So I'll check first same, this is the same condition, that the end date should be greater than the current date. And I will also put another less than query. Less than or equal to. So the less than equal to, that is the start date, should be less than the current date. In this case, event date should be greater than the current date, and the start date should be less than the current date. That means we are in between these two dates. I have to show only the current event because we have to show the date between start and the end date. So if I choose first one, it's showing 2, and if I choose second one, it's showing only the second one, the running one, because this is what I expected. I want start date should be less than the current date. So current date is today, start date should be less than current date, and end date should be greater than current date. So I'm using this query. And for all the future events, so this is the future event. All the future events, we have to write the query like this. So I will take this first query. So future events means the start date should be greater than today's. So instead of event end date, I will say event start date. So event start date means it should be greater than the today. That is, all the future events will be coming under this one, because all start date will start after the current date. So maybe it is tomorrow, then also event start date is greater than the today. So let's check this condition. So it will show only the future one. This will only show running one, and the first one will show future and the running one. And the last part is the past event. So let me copy this part. Okay, 1 second. Let me even end date. Okay, so this is future event. Okay, so now I have to show the past event. Okay, so to show the past event, I have to show that end date should be less than the current date. So the end date should be less than the current date. That means all the events are ended before the current date. So we have to say less than event end date than the current date. So all the event end date is less than the current date. That means end date is in the past, and we can show this past event like this. So now if I choose current and future, I am getting this one. If I choose running event, I am getting this one, and in the future I am getting this one, and if I choose the past, so I am getting the past event which is already ended on this one. So in the end case, I am choosing this end date. End date is November 30, and here I am saying that end date is less than the current date. So current date is 9 December, end date is less than the 9 December. If I choose the future events, future is the start date. The start date is greater than the current date. So this start date is greater than today. So that one I am putting this here, future date. For the running event, the start date should be less than current and the end date should be greater than the current. So end date greater than the current and start date less than the current. And for the first case, future and the current, in this case, end date should be greater than the today. So greater than, end date should be greater than today. And that's the reason I'm showing the current and the future date. So based on this select box, I'm able to show the result, whether it is a past event or whether it's a current event or it is a future event. So this part only we'll do today. Tomorrow we'll work more on different aspect of this page. So if you have any question on this one, you can ask.